What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Now, kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me. We had some mega matchups on Saturday of women's hoops, man, with conference play tipping off for some teams, especially big matchups in the Pac-12 where we had ranked Utah taking on Colorado, as well as the top 10 matchup of USC, the Lady Women of Troy, taking on those UCLA Lady Bruins. Oh man, it was brewing for an upset, or were they? Then we gotta talk about the game of the year candidate, Baylor, Texas. Texas going without Rory Harmon, man. Their first game without their captain, their floor general, their leader. How did they fare? And then, of course, we had a little cross-state, not rivalry, but matchup. South Carolina defeated East Carolina. South Carolina doing what South Carolina does. And then LSU, the return of Hailey Van Lith. Sheesh. But before we get into all that, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest. And join our memberships. We got that exclusive content coming daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Now, let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
So we mentioned the return of Hailey Van Lith, and she came out firing in the first half as LSU defeated Jacksonville handedly. Now look, she was hot shooting it from behind the arc. She had 11 points in the game, but 9 of them came in the first half. She came out and hit 3 quick tray balls. She was aggressive on defense. She looks healthy. They didn't play her overly minutes. She's obviously on a minutes watch, at least for that game. But she came in firing, and it was what you wanted to see. So in that first matchup, let's talk about the good, the bad, and what's next. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. This game was ugly in the first half for LSU. They shot 30 free throws. They were like 1 for 10 for layups. They were not finishing anything, but luckily they were awarded 30 free throws in the first half and made a majority of them. But in the second half, things picked up. As you can see, they ended up shooting 47% from the field. They shot 50% for 3, which is really good for them. They knocked down 40 free throws. Talk about getting to the line. 52 free throws? Are you kidding me? And then they killed on the boards, which we figured, with the size and the depth that they have, that is a big strength for this team. I love the 24 assists as well. That is major for them, just moving the basketball and getting open shots. I love the team effort that I saw in the second half compared to the first. Because in the first half, it was ugly. But you look at it, multiple double-digit scorers. Anissa Morrow continues to have a big year, 20 points, 10 boards. Angel Reese had a double-double in the first half and was 0 for 4 from the field. She was just getting to the line. They could not keep her off the glass or out of the paint. She had a whopping 20 rebounds in 28 minutes to go along with 17 points. Flau'jae Johnson also got it going with 25 and 3 in 29 minutes. And we mentioned her, just the defensive capabilities that she possesses. And she's the glue woman of this team. She does all the dirty work. She makes plays. She scores. She can pass it. She can facilitate, initiate the offense for others. And she's just a beast on defense. And she's getting those 50-50 balls. Hustle. The sensational freshman, Michaela Williams, continues to shine. 17 points in 27 minutes. She's a scorer. I love the assist and the rebound and her getting active as well. Hailey Van Lith with 5 assists as well, 11 and 5. Look at those assists, though, from the backcourt, man. Johnson with 3, Williams with 4, Hailey Van Lith with 5. And then you got Las Terapoa with 7. She is impressive off the bench in relief duty and gives them another weapon. With dealing with the injuries with Hailey Van Lith, we're seeing her get more minutes. And she's been shining in her role, coming off the bench, running that second unit, being able to spread the floor and hit the open 3, but more importantly, feeding all these scores that LSU has, which is major. They need all the playmakers they can get, and I love what I'm seeing. 7 assists for her off the bench. And obviously, you see Hailey Van Lith only played 21 minutes, so they're watching her, easing her back in. But I love the assists from the guards. That's what I want to continue to see, is them making life easier for these wings and these bigs. Of course, Angel Del Rosario has continued to get more minutes in recent weeks. 14.7 boards for her. She's looking more comfortable. And with her size and skill set, if they can continue to get valuable minutes out of her going against the second unit, it's going to be major. But also, you got to love, for what I saw, the lineup that they ran with Del Rosario, Angel Reese, and Morrow on the floor all at the same time. So they had Morrow at the 3, which is where she wants to play, like on the perimeter, and use those guard skills. Like, she's a monster on the glass, but she's also versatile enough, has the handle, has the knockdown shooting ability, has the lateral quickness, the fluid movement to play on the wing as well. She's a true 3-4, you know what I'm saying? She can play the wing. She can play the 2 through the 4. So I love that lineup, that versatility that Del Rosario provides for them, where she can play the 5. You can put Reese at the 4 and then Morrow at the 3 and run them with 2 guards. So a lot of versatility, a lot of different options that Coach Kim Mulkey can play with. They pick up the win to move to 13-1. 110-68 was the final. 10 blocks, 18 steals. You love to see that. Now, I told y'all we would talk about the good. Now we got to talk a little bit about the ugly. The 23 turnovers is insane, and that is absolutely not going to cut it. They have 23 turnovers in SEC play, and their next game is starting SEC play. If they have 23 turnovers against a South Carolina squad or Tennessee, one of the upper echelon SEC schools, LSU's going to get their doors blown off. Straight up. They got to cut down on the turnovers. I love the assists, but the guards have to be better with the basketball, and the bigs have to be stronger with the basketball. But we saw a completely different team from the first half to the second half. Coach Kim Mulkey must have got into them that halftime speech, because they came out firing on all cylinders in the second half. And, you know, people keep saying that they haven't played anybody. So with SEC play starting, we're going to really see how good they are. And them getting back to full strength is major. I love Hailey Van Lith back in this lineup. She just is such a game changer with her scoring ability, her playmaking ability, her veteran leadership. You know, she's played on the biggest stages. She's played a lot of college games. And just her ability to create for herself and others. She's a big-time shot maker. So love to see her back in this lineup. Love seeing her out there healthy, running good, competitive, knocking down the 3 ball, being aggressive. So she'll continue. I think she's going to have a big second half of the season as they push through SEC play, move to the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament later in next year. So we'll see. I'm excited to see, though, LSU coming together, though, like we said in our previous video. Now, we have a Game of the Year candidate we got to talk about between Baylor and Texas. Just in-state rivals. We knew two top 10 teams. A lot of star power in this lineup for both squads. And it sucks that Rory Harmon was not able to play in this game. But I tell you what, Texas continued to give it all they had, and they gave Baylor all they could handle. As you can see, final score 85-79. There was a whole lot of scoring, a whole lot of tough, big buckets in this contest. But Baylor was just able to make more threes in the end, more big shots. They shot 45% from the 3, 8 for 12 from the free throw line. You want to shoot a little bit better than that. But what you got to look at is the assist for them, and the three-point shooting, I think, is what really separated them. They made some huge shots every time Texas made a push, made a big play, and turnovers almost killed them as well. They had 22 turnovers, but Texas had 23. And in the end, I think that ended up doing them in, along with going 13 from 22 from the free throw line and only shooting 25% from the 3. I'll tell y'all what, though. This was a coming out party for the transfer Jada Walker out of Kentucky, man. She has to be the quickest guard in the nation with the basketball. Texas had nobody that could stay in front of her, and you can see, like, that was one matchup where they really, really missed Rory Harmon, man, because honestly, they had Madison Booker trying to keep up with her. They had Hailey trying to keep up with her. At times, they had Shaylee Gonzalez trying to keep up with her. And I tell you what, Walker was getting everything she wanted in the paint. She finished with 19 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. As a guard that has played mostly off the ball in her career at the college level, it was impressive to see her being the primary ball handler, what she could do with it. She was getting just paint touch after paint touch after paint touch after paint touch, y'all. She was getting everything she wanted in the lane, finishing among the trees, taking bumps, and finishing through the contact. She played 37 minutes. Only 2 players in the entire game played more than her, and we'll get to that because they were both for Texas. But she played 37 minutes and gave it her all every minute she was on the court. She was a huge difference maker for this team. And, man, she is lightning quick. I'm telling y'all, I don't think there's any other point guard in the nation quicker than her with the basketball. Sarah Andrews was sensational. She battled through some injuries, some hard knocks, but had a big 16, hit some huge three-pointers to really close the door on Texas as they continued to fight in the fourth. So it was major. Jayuna Edwards was a monster, 18, 8, and 6, controlling the boards. She was so big at creating extra possessions for her squad, using her size, her physicality, banging against multiple Texas bigs. They asked a lot out of her. She played 34 minutes, and she competed every minute she was out there. You know what I'm saying? Texas has a bevy of bigs that they continue to rotate, and Edwards took them all on, head on, just showing her physical capability, showing the playmaking ability as well, passing out of the post, creating offenses. They ran some really good give and goes with her, getting her involved, and she just showed that soft touch around the glass. She was relentless around the cup on the low block, and she got everything she wanted in the lane, man. So I was impressed with her performance as well. Bella Fauntleroy was big as well. 6 foot, versatile, guard, wing, forward, plays kind of all over the place. As 6 foot, 6'1". I think just her versatility was huge. She made some really, really big shots for this squad in this contest as well, man. That just helped keep Texas at bay because they were making a run. They kept pushing and pushing and pushing. But every time it seemed like, if it wasn't Little Paige Bugs getting a rebound or Edwards getting a rebound, it was Fauntleroy hitting a big shot, or Walker or Andrews or Felder. Somebody just hitting a huge shot after one of these bigs got the rebound, man. So they killed with those second chance opportunities. And Baylor, I just have to commend them because they continue to make big shot after big shot. If y'all watch the game, man, Texas was on their rump the entire game, y'all. Madison Booker is special, and I expected to see an uptick with her getting the offense run through her and being that primary playmaker since she was second on the team in assists. And she had 25, 8, and 7. She was sensational, played 30 minutes. She looked gassed towards the end, man, and rightfully so, because they were throwing all types of different defenders at her. They went big, they went small, and Booker just continued to make big shots. If they need a big three, she was taking it. If they needed to get to the cup, she's slicing through the lane, finishing. Whenever they needed a bucket, Booker was the go-to player. And shout out to Amina Muhammad stepping up as well. She had a huge game, 17 points, 5 rebounds. She had a couple tough and ones. When the game was almost out of reach, man, Muhammad really stepped up and continued to fight and make plays. And speaking of keeping the game in range, Shaylee Gonzalez on the defensive end coming up with 6 steals for this team. She was huge on both sides of the ball. She was one of those players that we mentioned, played 40 minutes. She was active on the boards, had 4 rebounds, 2 assists. I think she'll get some more playmaking opportunities moving forward. They're going to need somebody else aside from Booker to be able to facilitate for other players. But she had 12 points. She hit a couple big threes as well. She was good. She did what they asked of her. I was impressed with Hailey. She averages a little over 7 points a game. She came in, started, and had 13 points, 4 rebounds. She had a really slow first half, but she really got it going in the second half. found her looks, gotten some paint touches. This team is replacing Rory Harmon, though, people. And that is not an easy look. Like, it's just, that production has to come from all of them. It's not just going to come from one player. You know what I'm saying? But Texas has a lot of talent still, and I think that they could still make a run. But it's just tough without a true point guard on this team. Somebody's going to have to slide into that role to be able to score and facilitate alongside Madison Booker. But she was sensational. This freshman class is so loaded, y'all. It is ridiculous. And we're seeing that with teams all around the country. Like, we know the big names, but Madison Booker is right there with the best freshman in the country. And now with Rory Harmon out of the lineup, she's going to be relied upon a lot more. And we're seeing just, how much more she can take on, which is a lot. Now, kicking it over to the SEC, switching conferences a little bit here. I love the fact that South Carolina are playing these type of games. I was excited to see East Carolina's Amaya Joyner go against this big front line of Camila Cardoso, Ashlyn Watkins, Chloe Kitts. I was excited to see, because Joyner's a former 4-star recruit. Could have been at South Carolina or any of these other big programs. She stayed at the crib and continued to just help ECU build in her second season on campus, man. She continues to help them build, and she wanted to stay home and make a legacy of her own. So big respect. But, South Carolina is coming through this season especially. And this was just a well-balanced effort from the front court from them. But defensively, they held ECU to 13 field goals for the game. They made them shoot 19%, held them under 20%, held them under 20% from three-point range as well. They went 2 from 12, 8 for 21 from the free throw line. You got to be better than that. The rebounding battle, they won that. South Carolina, this was a game that we're expecting them to win, and we're looking at it. They're spreading the rock around. Something that I will acknowledge, though, we talked about LSU's turnover. South Carolina fans, y'all don't get mad at me, but, hey, we got to talk about the 18 for 34 from the free throw line, man. That is ridiculous, y'all. 52%, they're going to be shooting free throws in practice. You can't be leaving the free ones at the rim, man. Come on now. Anyways, it was a balanced effort. Camila Cardoso had 12, 10, and 5. Love that she's showing that passing ability. I'm telling y'all, she's arguably the best two-way player in the country, but I still think she's just scratching the surface on her overall talent, man. But 12, 5, and 10 is tough. Chloe Kitts coming off 7 points, 10 rebounds for her as well in 19 minutes, 3 assists. The bigs moving the basketball, man. Raven Johnson, quiet night, 4 points, 3 assists, 7 rebounds. They didn't really need much from her. Malaysia Wiley getting back into the action of things. 24 minutes for her, big time. She had 12 points, 3 assists, 9 rebounds. Stuff in the stat sheet. Ashlyn Watkins off the bench, 11 points and 5 rebounds in 12 minutes. And I'm so impressed with her. Just her ability to how she impacts the game in such little times. Like, her per 30 and per 60 stats have to be insane, man. She's just instant impact off the bench, man. Offense, defense, she's blocking shots, she's grabbing rebounds, she's scoring, she's hustling, she's bringing that competitive moxie. Like, there's just not a lot of players or a lot of programs with the talent of Ashley Watkins. Having that to be able to come off the bench is insane. It was a quiet day for Tahina Paopao. Only 9 points, but she only played 19 minutes. This was a game that was well in hand. So it was nice to see some of the other players that don't really get to play a whole lot get some minutes and get some experience, get some points. You know what I'm saying? We don't really see South Carolina typically go this deep into the lineup. But, Dawn Staley doing a good job, man. You can never question what she's got going on in South Carolina. Doing a good job of getting those players minutes, bouncing out, not going too hard on the starters, and giving them some reps, but also giving them some rest, man. So South Carolina getting it done like we expected them to, 73-36. They continue to be dominant on both ends. This is the best defensive basketball team that we have seen in quite some time. Now, jumping over to the Pac-12, there were two mega matchups. The Pac-12 were where it was at, but shame on the Pac-12, man, for not having both these games nationally televised and only having them on the Pac-12 network. What's up with that, man? We need answers, bro. But anyways, so Colorado and Utah kicked things off in our first matchup, our first ranked matchup, and it continues to be the Alyssa Peely show, man. But shout out to Jalen Sherrod as well, one of the best guards in the country, getting it done. Aaronette Vonleh, also one of the best bigs in the country, continuing to have a very, very productive season at Colorado. This was a good game. Colorado came out with the win, 76-65. And we got to talk about, for one, man, both these teams, three-point shooting has been a string, especially for Utah. And it ended up doing them in at the end, I think, man, going 5 for 20, shooting 25% from three. One of their worst three-point shooting percentages of the season so far. And Colorado just balanced attack, man, just balanced. For Utah, you're not going to win with 20 turnovers. Like, that's just not going to happen. It's not a good look, man. And then they had nobody scoring double figures except for Peely. She had 27, 5, and 10. She continues to be the heart and soul of the squad. Imagine if she was still at USC teamed up with Juju Watkins. My goodness. These shooters for Utah just could not make shots, and they're missing two huge pieces of their backcourt, man. And I think we're seeing them be impacted by that against really super quality teams. Like, they're winning games, but when they're playing the cream of the crop right now, it's just they do not have enough firepower outside of Peely, who continues to be unguardable. She can shoot the three. She can get it off the dribble. She can finish and through contact over taller players. She's going by bigger players. You know what I'm saying? If you put a smaller defender on her, it's mouse in the house. She's bodying up and finishing through that. She's just doing a little bit of everything. She's definitely got to be in the running for the player of the year, as I mentioned in my last video. But she needs some help. My goodness. And then on the other side, we mentioned Vonleh. We mentioned Sherrod. Sherrod, 34 points. Are you kidding me? 30 ball, 4 assists, 4 rebounds in 33 minutes. She was huge. Utah absolutely had no type of answers for her whatsoever. No smoke for her. She got everything she wanted. She was cooking from all three levels. Sherrod dominated this game. Her handprints, her fingerprints were all over this contest. And you just got to appreciate her effort, her leadership, the intensity, the competitiveness. She's a guard that's been around, was good last year, has been around in this program, knows what this team, the aspirations are this year. They felt like they made some noise last year, but they want to get further than the Sweet 16. And, man, this team they're looking special, man. We seen that in the first week when they blew the doors off of LSU. We knew it was something different with this squad, man. They have shooters. They have 2 stars in Vonleh and Sherrod who can carry the load. They have a really nice supporting cast. They're balanced. They trust each other, this team. They have really good chemistry. You know what I'm saying? You could tell, like, they're just in tune with one another. This team is not going to stop fighting. They were trailing in the fourth quarter and outscored Colorado 25-11, man. Like, this group is just going to fight until the end. They're tough, and you're going to have to put them away because they're not going away. Shout out to Sarah Rose Smith coming up with a big game, man. Like, you just don't know whose night it's going to be for Colorado. They got a bunch of shot makers. It was a quiet night for Frida Foreman, who was usually lights out for 3, and it didn't matter. Smith stepped up. Sherrod stepped up. Vonleh stepped up to carry the load, man. This is just huge. Vonleh continues to be one of the best bigs in the nation, one of the most versatile, just high percentage scorer, man. She gets it around the cup, and she's finishing it. I'm telling you. This is a big win to kick off Pac-12 play for Colorado. They moved to 11-1, thinking they might hit at least top 6. They'll probably move up a couple spots after a ranked win over 12 Utah, man. Big win for them. Good team win, good effort, and like I said, they fought back because they were trailing in the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? Peely was lighting them up. Utah had the momentum, and they came out in the fourth quarter and fought hard, pushed through, persevered. forced turnovers, forced Utah into 20 turnovers like we mentioned. And, hey, they got the dub, and that's all that matters. Staying in the Pac-12, it was the battle for California, UCLA, USC, Juju Watkins, and Vate and Westwood. And it was a thriller, man. It was really a thriller. But unfortunately, man, USC, it was Juju Watkins and Jalen Forbes. It was nobody else, man. Ryan Marshall had a good, rebounding game, but she was locked down. Lauren Betts and these other bigs from UCLA, the size, the length, the depth, it was just too much. UCLA continues to be a well-oiled machine, man. They are just balanced. They have 8 players that could really light you up. Like, it could be anybody's night. That starting 5 is the most balanced starting 5 in the Pac-12. I gotta say it. Everybody can score. Everybody in their starting 5 is a threat, and we saw that. Looking at it, what sticks out to me immediately, the rebounding battle. UCLA, too much size. 16 offensive rebounds compared to 6. 15 assists, sharing the basketball. You want to see the turnovers get cut down for sure. But 9 blocks, patrolling the paint as well, man. They just were the bigger, more physical team, and they made more plays. They got to shoot better from the free throw line. But it was just too much firepower from them, man. Like, you look at UCLA's lineup, and they always have at least, 4 players in double figures, man. Lauren Betts was huge. I was excited to see her and Marshall go at it, and Betts won that matchup. 15 points, 8 rebounds, just huge on the glass. London Jones absolutely stole the show at 5'4", 7 rebounds. She had 21 points. She proved to be the most important player for this team, man. Played 32 minutes, made some huge shots whenever they need one. She was the go-to person, man. It was just impressive. She made shot after shot after shot that her teammates just kept fouling her. She just got into a groove and didn't let up. And then 7 rebounds, monster for her. You look at Kiki Rice, the point guard, and we were looking forward to this matchup between her and Juju Watkins, man. 2, former McDonald's All-Americans, high-priced freshman recruits. Kiki Rice in her second year had a good first year, and she delivered, man. 12 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. The assists were kind of down for her, but, I was impressed with just her poised, being able to make decisions, the right decisions, not forcing anything. Charisma Osborne came up with 10 points as well, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Led the team in assists for the game. And I'm just looking at it, man, well-balanced, oiled machine. Gabriela Jaquez only played 13 minutes in this contest. They didn't even need her, and she's usually a huge contributor. LSU just has so much size and versatility, man, at, every position. They've got scorers. They're deep in the backcourt. Lauren Betts is definitely holding down the middle. But Osborne, Jones, Kiki Rice, that 3-guard lineup is just a handful to deal with. That's a lot of firepower, man. And you could tell, the LSU has a nice group of youth mixed with veterans, man. They have players that have been there, that have played in these big dogfight, barn burner, heavyweight fights. They've had games like this before, and the players were ready for it. And we talked about sensational freshmen. We talked about players that were ready for it. Juju Watkins was ready. 27 points, 11 boards, man. Really just huge double-double. She did everything she could. She played almost every minute in this game. She did absolutely everything she could to will this team to a win. Mackenzie Forbes, 23 points as well. You look at it, y'all. Seriously. Out of 64 points, they combined for 50 of them. There were only 14 points scored by the rest of the team. Forbes and Watkins combined for 50 points, y'all. Can they get some help? I think Raya Marshall, she's usually averaging 14 points a game. They needed that 8 points in this contest. They needed that extra 8 points. She was big on the boards. She out-rebounded UCLA's bigs. You know what I'm saying? So I was impressed with that. She did her best to hold her own down there, and she's definitely still a force in the middle. But they need more than 6 points from their big, from their focal point, from their defensive anchor, and their low post, their number one low post option. They need more from Marshall, man. They needed more from her, and they needed more from a lot of these players, man. They needed more for Kayla Padilla. They needed more from her. Like, they needed more from these guards. I mean, 3 points, 5 assists, and 1 rebound in 36 minutes of play is just not going to cut it. Those shooters that we're used to seeing knock down shots just weren't making them. Caitlin Davis was rather quiet in this contest as well. It was really, like we mentioned, the Forbes and Watkins show. These two combined for 50. Juju was sensational. She continues to be sensational. She continues to prove that she is that next superstar in the line of a lot of great superstars in the college game. After the Caitlin Clarks of the world, Juju Watkins is absolutely next, looking to be the next face of women's college basketball at the college level and maybe beyond. It was some great games. We saw some big wins. We saw some things that teams need to work on. We saw some big-time matchups. We saw some rivalries. We saw some in-state rivalries. We saw some cross-state rivalries. It was great. It was great matchups, man. And it's going to be the ACC's turn today. So we'll see, man. We'll keep y'all posted on everything. But y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments about how everything went down over the weekend. Holler at your boy. And make sure y'all hit the subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest. And join our memberships. We got that exclusive content, like I mentioned. That's a wrap for us. I'm Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV, your host. Until next time, Happy New Year. We out.